Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be doing another crafter square kit that I got from the Dollar Tree. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, I am doing a viewer request. It has been I've been getting a lot of viewer requests for crafter square kits as well as Five Below kits, and I have not found those kits in my area. I actually found this in another state when I happened to be on a business trip. So if you would like for me to make any of these kits that you're stumbling upon, please, if you do not want to wait for that video, go ahead and send me some clear images of the instructions and I'll be able to help you. But till then, there's not much I can do, and I feel real bad about that. Alright, real quick before we get started into this kit, I wanted to mention that in my original channel, I am holding a special giveaway. It's for the football season, and I know that you guys might not all be knowledgeable about football, but it's really fairly simple. If you hop over there, and I'll leave the link in the description box below. I really wanted to keep those two things private, but separate, but the winner will receive some really good things that I think you guys will benefit from. So if you hop onto the other channel and you just pick whatever one out of two football teams that will be playing against each other, just say whether or not those teams are going to win. I post that video on Tuesdays. I close it out on Wednesday night, or the end of Wednesday night. So for me, that will be Wednesday midnight, or that would be Thursday midnight Eastern time, but it's when I wake up. So essentially, you could slip one in there before I wake up on my end. But yeah, and it's an 18-week giveaway. So far, I actually only know of one other crafter that has entered into that giveaway. I do have one nail winner and one craft winner, so it's still, and we have about 15 weeks left. So there's still a lot of play there to where you can eventually win this giveaway. And what I'm giving away is a bunch of goodies, depending on whether you want crochet and or knitting. I will throw in some other little kits as well for fun. I am also giving a gift card as well as a 1-hour meeting through StreamYard. It's fairly simple. You click on the link, you can aim your camera just on your desk area and show me what projects you're working on. If you get stuck in somewhere, I can help you out. On my end, I'll have something like this as well on camera, and I can do the project with you if I have it. But yeah, I thought I'd share that because I do get a lot of questions on how, getting stuck in places in these kits, and they're not easy. I understand that. So I really would like to help, and I hope that you would consider just entering. At some point in this channel, I'll do my own giveaway on here, but I just haven't reached that level yet with this channel. And I'm just strictly putting content out to help you, not to do any, thing like giveaways yet. But anyway, alright, so now let's get into this kit. I have not seen this. I've been asked about a turtle, and I'm like, no, I have not seen no turtle. But lo and behold, I've seen this. You can tell this is like an AI, which is very, it's not AI, it's Photoshop. Because this is just really silly, all this. There's no way this is real, you can tell. But anyway, it includes black yarn, pink yarn, teal yarn, wiggle eyes, crochet hook, plastic needle stuffing, and instruction sheet. Alright, this is at Crafter Square. I believe it might be $1.25. This is different packaging. It seems like different areas will have different packaging. I don't know. All I know is that my area never has what I'm looking for when I get these requests. So again, if you have any requests, please, please, please send it to me via email so that I'll be able to help you out. Alright, so in this kit here, ooh, I like this. It's sticky so that if you don't use it today, you can pack it up for later. Alright, so this looks like a different materials too. This looks like a spiffier crochet hook. And it used to have an embossed number, so I don't really know what number it is, and it's really hard to tell because while this side is thick, this side is very skinny, but it's very skinny, so this could be, I mean, this is what they used to look like. It's a little smaller than this one. This one is a 3.5 millimeter, so this one has to be smaller. And here is, what's this, stickers? Or you have to glue gun it. I don't add the eyes. I sew them on with some black yarn because I want this to be choking hazard free. And then this needle is atrocious. It's very flimsy already. So I probably won't be using any of this. They have their own. Their older kits have a needle already. Let me show you. These are usually typical. It's very sturdy, but as you saw, as I was like trying to get the needle out of there, you can see it bend. So it's very flimsy. Always keep your tools. It's very helpful. And you could use it in the future. And in saying that, the older kits used to come with a marker, a stitch marker. I highly recommend purchasing these online or at a hobby store. They sell them in packs, and a lot of them, which is great. I have to probably go get the rest of mine because I packed it up when I was on my trip. But I happen to have one here, and I'll explain like why you need them when we get to the instructions. So here's the teal yarn. Here's the stuffing. I love that they pack it so now it won't get dirty, because usually you just stuffed everything in there. Here's the black. I'll be able to, if I have enough, I'm going to be able to do the eyes with this. Usually I just use my own black yarn. Here's the pink yarn, and here's the tiny little instructions. So they now offer illustrations, which I think are helpful, but sometimes they're so small you can't even see it. I would recommend taking a photo of on your phone, and then you can, a very high resolution picture, and you'll be able to like zoom in and out on your phone. Because I did that one of their old kits when they had the little bar graphs or pie charts or whatever. Alright, so now for this stuff here. This is the new format. I think the last set of instructions from the last 6 kits were great. Looks like they're trying a different one or tried a different vendor, and this one is very atrocious. So it shows you how to do a chain stitch, a working into a chain stitch, working in the round, changing color, sewing the seams, and then it starts with the shell and the head, the forefoot, the rear foot, the tail, and then stuff and attach eyes. So, and this is essentially what it's supposed to look like. Definitely not the same photo that's in here, by the way. Alright, so this video is only a supplement to the instructions. If you would like to make this turtle for yourself, I highly recommend checking your Dollar Tree and seeing if they have this kit. Okay, so what I do in these videos is I go over new steps at least 3 times, step by step, and then I'll move forward with building this turtle in my normal pace, which is faster than a beginner would be doing this. So in saying that, there is a gear button in the corner where you can click to make the video go fast or slow. And then if you don't need to hear me talking, you can always click on the closed caption button and lower the volume on your device. Alright, so let's get into this. We have to do the shell. And Okay, so let's get with the color. So the shell, and it doesn't even tell you the color, you just have to look at the picture, which it seems obvious, but you know, I would rather have them say now with the pink yarn, you know. So all right, let's find the end here. All right, I don't like how their spools are sometimes, so hopefully this won't be so bad. Okay, so if you're familiar with these kits, this is not the typical amigurumi kit. It's not going to start with the magic ring that you thought all these kits would start out. This set of kits is doing it way different for some reason. Again, another vendor maybe. But let me show you how to start off casting on your first loop onto the hook using a slip knot. So what you want to do is take your ring, pinky, and thumb, and we're going to hold the end of the yarn here. Then you're going to take your index and middle finger and you're going to hold apart the other end like that. You want to keep this end really tight and then this part a little loose because we're going to pull on it. Alright, so you want to take your two fingers here. You want to push up from this end here. We're going to turn it down and create this loop. And then we're going to take our index and middle finger and just pinch that piece and pull it through the loop like that. Oh. So now we're going to tighten up this loop here. And you want to tighten it all the way till you cannot tighten it anymore. And once we get to this part here, then we can pull this end just to get a little bit more pull out of it. You don't want to pull it too tight, just enough to make the knot snug. Then hold the knot, and we're going to pull the feeder yarn that's connected to the rest of the yarn there. We're going to pull it to make the loop a little bit more manageable for us to use. So like that. And then we're going to be able to slip our hook into the loop and you can tighten it up like that. Alright, so now we did our first move of doing a slip knot onto the crochet hook. You can always rewind if you missed that or you just need to do it again, but we're going to move on to the next part. Alright, so now we're going to do a chain stitch. So let's gather up some yarn around your finger. This is called the feeder yarn. You want to hold down the knot here to keep your project stabilized. And then let's start doing a chain stitch. So here is how you do a chain stitch. You want to yarn over like that. So basically it's taking the yarn and putting it over the crochet hook. Then you're going to pull this strand here through the loop like that, and that's it, a chain stitch. Now if we look closely, a chain stitch has a loop on each side and you turn it to its side and it has a loop in the back. I call this the hump. Alright, so let's do two more with you guys. So yarn over, basically putting this yarn over the hook. Then we're going to take this strand and pull it through this loop like that. So now we have two chains, and again each chain has a loop on each side. You turn it on its side and then there's a loop on the back. Alright, one more time with you guys. We're going to yarn over. It's putting the yarn over the hook. I'm going to pull this strand through the loop. And now we have 3 single crochet chains, sorry. So you can do this for a very long time just to practice. So aside from this project, if you're a beginner and you want to become better at making your stitches more uniform, I would recommend doing the slip knot and doing a bunch of chains. I ended up, when I started off, making bracelets with it. Anyway, alright, so from here on out you can rewind the video and watch how I did the chain stitches again, but I'm going to move forward and complete the rest of the chain stitches required for this project, but what I am going to tell you is we're going to do the number of stitches required plus 1. Okay, so right now we have 3. I'm going to do the rest that it says for the first row. So and then you want to do an extra one. Okay, so for the instructions of the shell on the first row, do the number of stitches that it says and add 1. Alright, so now from here I'm going to show you how to do the actual loops. They're not calling it the right terminology. Based on the photos, it looks like they're doing a single crochet stitch. And I'm going to teach you these terms because these are the terms that you're going to find in every kit, at least every good one. So what may be, if you end up picking up another kit, you'll know what it's called. And some of them, or at least the ones that I've seen, use the right name. So this one doesn't, which is one of my cons for this. So we did chain stitches plus the 1. Now we're going to do single crochet stitches. So when you do a single crochet stitch off of chains, it's standard to use 1 chain for the height of the row. That's why I had you do an extra one. So from here, what you're going to do is we're going to start our single crochet stitch, but we're going to skip 1 chain and we're going to go into the second one. So count from the hook. Here's 1, here's 2. Now turn it on its side. Remember I showed you it has a back hump. We're going to put our hook into the back hump of the second stitch. Alright. See, if you flip it on this side, you can see it's just underneath that braid, and then we stuck our crochet hook through the back hump. So from here, to complete the single crochet stitch, you want to yarn over, you want to pull this through the loop. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. So we have our first single crochet stitch. So here's the stitch. I always like to show you what it looks like. You have 1 loop on this side, 1 loop on that side. Here is that extra chain stitch, and it's building the height of the row. So hopefully that makes more sense now that you've made your first stitch. Alright, let's do this again. Stick your hook into the next stitch. I'm going to use the back hump. Alright, stick your hook in. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through 2 loops. So now we have 2 single crochet stitches, loops on one side and the other. We have our chain stitch making the height, and then we still have our chain stitches at the bottom, and it still looks pretty. Alright, one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch. I'm using the back hump. Alright, you can see the braid underneath there. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over again and pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 3 single crochet stitches. So from here we're going to complete row 1. Alright, so at this time now it should equal the number that it asks you to do. So you can rewind, you can slow down the video. First row I'm usually kind of slower just because I'm trying to get the hook into the back hump. Alright. Okay. So now we have our first row complete. It should look like this. When you put your hook into the back loop, you don't disturb the braiding. So now you have a pretty edge here. So for row 2, we have to increase by 2 stitches. So let me show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is we have to turn our project. So what I'm going to do is chain 1. We're going to yarn over, pull through that loop to have that chain 1, and then we're going to turn. You just flip your project counterclockwise this way. So if you are looking at this, you just, whoa, I guess that's clockwise. Flip it to the back like that. Okay, so now we're working on the back side. So what you want to do is stick your hook into that first stitch. All right, and we're going to do our increasing stitch. I'll show you how to do that. All it is doing 2 single crochet stitches in this one stitch. So do 1 single crochet stitch, stick your hook back into that same stitch and do another single crochet stitch. So as we look closely at it, you can see that one stitch has 2 single crochet stitches. So now we're going to do single crochet stitches all the way down except for the last stitch. The last stitch we're going to do another increasing stitch. So alright, so for the last stitch we're going to do another increasing stitch. Stick your hook into the last stitch. We're going to do a single crochet stitch, and then you're going to stick your hook back into that same stitch, and we're going to do another single crochet stitch. Right, so you can kind of see it's starting to fan out. That's because we added 2 more stitches. So now we're going to do row 3, and we're going to add another 2 stitches. So like we did before, let's chain 1 for the height. We're going to turn our project again. So now we're back to the front side. And then we're going to go into our first stitch here, and we're going to do an increasing stitch. So do a single crochet stitch, go back into that same stitch, and do another single crochet stitch. If you look closely, we have that 1 stitch and we have 2 single crochet stitches coming out of it. Alright, so then we're going to do single crochet stitches again all the way down except for the last stitch. We're going to do an increasing stitch. Alright, and in the last stitch we're going to do an increasing stitch. Okay. So now for round 4, this is where it's going to get a little difficult to keep up if you have a lot of things going on. So like I said, I have a marker here, and this is going to represent row 4, and I'm just going to put my marker underneath the braid of the last stitch we made, so under those 2 loops. Be sure not to pierce through it. Close up this marker, and this lets me know I'm going to do row 4, because for row 4 instructions we actually have to repeat the instructions several times for the other rows. So it's the same. We're going to do straightforward single crochet stitches, nothing fancy, repetitive, and we have to do it for several rows. So I have all these markers. These I've collected from previous Crafter Square kits before they stopped making them. I've saved them from other kits that I have put on this channel. So I highly recommend, whenever you get tools from a kit, always hold on to it. Okay, so now that I have my markers, I can stop what I'm doing, make lunch, dinner, whatever it is. I can take a break, and all I know is that I just have to use up these markers. So once these markers are gone, I can move on to the next step. So in saying this, I'm going to continue doing single crochet stitches for each row for the remaining rows of these markers in silence, and then when we come back, we are going to I'm going to show you the next steps of the instructions. All right, before I do that though, we are increasing another 2 stitches just for this 4th row. All right. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna chain 1 and turn. We're going to stick our hook into the first stitch, and we're gonna do an increasing stitch. So do your increasing stitch, and then we're gonna do single crochet stitches all the way down. Except for the last one, the last stitch. The last stitch we're going to do an increasing stitch. Alright, so correcting myself, from row 5 is repetitive. So we're going to stick our marker in the last stitch we made. And we're going to chain 1, turn, and then we're going to do single crochet stitches from here on out until we use up these. So yeah, again, you guys, I try to do these projects, you know, first time, first reaction. If it's not that bad, I usually leave my reactions in and I correct my mistakes. If it's really bad, like I said, this is take 2. So well, you can see how far I've gotten since take 1. But anyway, all right, so we're going to do single crochet stitches from here on out until we use up these markers in silence. Alright, so I did all the rows, the repetitive rows, and now it looks like we're going to be decreasing in stitches. So what we're going to do here is chain 1, turn. We're going to do a decreasing stitch on each side. So to do that, let me show you. We're going to stick our hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. So from here we're going to be doing single crochet stitches all the way down except for the last 2. Alright, and for the last 2 we are going to do another decreasing stitch. So stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so now you can kind of see it going back down. So let's chain 1 and turn. Again, let's start off with a decreasing stitch. So we're going to put your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And again, we're going to do single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last 2 stitches. And then for the last stitches, another decreasing stitch. Okay, let me just get more yarn here. Alright, so let's chain 1, turn, and we're going to do a decreasing stitch for the first stitches here. So do a decreasing stitch, then we're going to do single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last 2 stitches. And then we're going to do a decreasing stitch. Okay. Now from here, we're going to fasten off because we are done. You can see how it's starting to look like a shell. Alright, so I don't know how much we're going to need. It looks like they gave you way too many. It's a definite different vendor because some of these kits give you just enough, if not enough. And they gave you more than enough. So I don't know how much we're going to need to sew. So I'm going to wrap some of this around twice from the shell. around the shell. All right, and then I'm going to cut this off. And then I'm going to show you how to fasten off and set aside. So what you're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to pull up a loop all the way out. All right, and then you're just going to pull. Tighten up that little stitch, and it's going to keep everything closed. And then from here you can remove all your markers if you have them. Again, apologize if you don't have them. I would go on Prime or a hobby store and get them as soon as you can, or whenever you can, and then come back to my video and start it, because these markers are such a lifesaver. So I use them. I used to not use them until I got these kits, and then after having experience using them, I wouldn't go back, because not only do I do things all the time to stop and go, if you've not noticed in my videos, but also I get lost in thought sometimes, and my counts are not always right. So all right, set that aside. I'm going to set this aside. We're going to be working on the body now. Right, like I said, they gave you more than enough of the pink. So, and that probably means they gave you more than enough for the teal. I like this. Save it. You can make another one. Now that I'm helping you decipher these terrible instructions. I'm sorry, I just get so frustrated because, you know, I put out a lot of content. I have a long wait list of requests, and when I hit kits that are difficult like this, it takes up a lot of my time. I do have a full-time job on top of this, and like I said, another channel, so it's really hard to keep up. So like, I always like things to go smoothly. All right. So for the body, we're going to do the same things. Okay, let me show you how to cast on again. We are going to, oh, I just realized I'm doing it different this time. Anyway, ring and pinky and thumb on one end, index and middle finger on the other. You want to keep this tight. You want to keep this a little loose because we're going to pull it. So take your two fingers here. You want to pull up on the yarn. Twist down to make this loop. We're going to take our index and middle finger, and we're just going to pull that through the loop like that. And then now we're just going to tighten up the loop by pulling on the yarn until it gets tight enough to where you can't push it down any further. And then we're going to take our excess piece. I made this a little longer than I liked, but pull on the excess piece just a little bit to get that little bit out left. So now we have a nice snug knot. Hold the knot. We're going to pull in the feeder yarn here, not the short one, but the feeder yarn. And you're going to pull it to where it's a more manageable loop. All right, then we're going to slip our hook into the loop, and you can tighten it just a little bit more if you want, but that's how you cast on with the slip knot. And we are going to start the body. So this is going to start the same way as the shell did. So let's do the number of chains required for this row plus 1. And even with practice, like I made one of those chains super small, so you can, and super big the next one, so you can see the inconsistencies. But the more you practice, the less likely that will happen. Okay, and even then, sometimes I still get that. So, all right, now we're gonna do our single crochet stitch. So what you want to do, like I said, count 2 chains from the hook. The first chain is for the height, the second chain is for the stitch. I turn it on its side and I put my hook into that back hump there. So stick your hook into the back hump, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitch. All right. Then now we're gonna complete doing our single crochet stitches down the line. And one thing I'm starting to learn with these kits, you can tell if it's going to be a row. When it says row, it means this. If it says round, we're gonna do a circle. So that part I still get confused with. But now no longer. And then for this last stitch, I like to tuck in my ends. This one's a little long, so it won't disappear like the other one did, but just do your single last crochet stitch. And then you can start with the next row. So for the next row, row 2, we're going to again increase with 2 stitches. So it seems like we're just gonna do the same thing we did for the shell. So chain 1, turn, do your increasing stitch, and then do single crochet stitches all the way down except for the last one. I'm just going to try to hide this excess piece in my stitching. Last one, do an increasing stitch. Alright. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do round 3 or row 3. So for row 3, we're going to add 2 more stitches. So let's do an increasing stitch on the first stitch. Then we're going to do single crochet stitches all the way down except for the last stitch. Last stitch, we're going to do an increasing stitch. Alright, so now we're going to be doing row 4, but I'm going to grab some more yarn here. I'm just amazed by how much yarn they give you. You can very well make a copy for yourself or for another person. Give 2 turtle doves. What's a turtle dove? Oh no, that's a bird, right? Never mind. I was thinking legit like turtles. Right? I don't know. Oh, I'm getting up there in age, so I don't remember what a turtle dove looks like. I think it looks like a dove. Anyway, make 2 turtles anyway. Alright. Now for the next row, we're going to chain 1, turn. We're going to add 2 more stitches. So first stitch, do an increasing stitch. And then do single crochet stitches all the way down except for the last one. And then an increasing stitch on the last one. Okay. So then for row 5, we're gonna increase the row by 2 stitches. Let me put this marker here for row 5 because we're back to that repetitive thing, but I want to show to do an increasing stitch first. So do your increasing stitch. And then we're going to do single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last stitch. Alright, and then last stitch, increasing stitch. And I want to use a marker for the 6th row. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. And so from here on out, it's going to be single crochet stitches, no adding, no subtracting, just straightforward single crochet stitches till we hit the number of rows we need. So this is row 6. And then I just need one more. Right? Okay. Let's count one more time. Alright. And then I'm going to do this in silence. Okay, so I completed the number of rows of just doing single crochet stitches, and now it looks like we're going to be decreasing our stitching. So we're going to chain one, turn, and we're going to do our decreasing stitch. So decreasing stitch. All right, and then the rest we're going to do a single crochet stitches with the exception of the last two stitches because we're going to do a decreasing stitch again. All right, and then we're going to do our decreasing stitch. Chain and turn. All right, let me just get some more yarn here. All right. So for the next row, we're going to be decreasing again. Okay, so decreasing stitch, single crochet stitches with the exception of the last two stitches, decreasing stitch, I'm going to chain one and turn, then we're going to do another decreasing stitch, single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last two stitches, decreasing stitch, sorry, chain one and turn, we're going to do a decreasing stitch again, single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last two stitches, decreasing stitch, and then we're going to fasten off. So again, I don't know how much we'll need to sew this all together, so I'm just going to wrap this yarn twice around the project, cut it off, then to fasten off, we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop all the way out. I have a manufacturer's knot in here. That's when they take two spools and tie them together if they run out. So that's what this is. It looks like actually it's a rip, and they tied the rip together. Anyway, all right, and pull that all the way out, and then we're going to tighten this up, making that stitch tighter to secure the yarn, and then you can remove your markers. And then we're going to move on to the head. And it looks like the instructions say row, so we're still working with rows. So that's what I think that's what happened to me last time. I tripped up because I wasn't sure what was using rows, what was using rounds. But this is what it's looking like. Okay, comment below, let me know how you're doing. And we're going to move on to the next part here. So one more time, I'm going to show you how to cast on with the slip knot. Ring, pinky, and thumb on one end, very tight. Index and middle finger on the other, kind of loose. Take two fingers, push it up, turn it down. Then take your index and middle and pull this yarn through the loop. All right, and then we're going to tighten up this knot here by just pulling down on it, making the knot smaller. And once it's small enough, take the excess piece here, pull that little extra bit more, not too tightly. Then you're going to grab the knot, and we're going to pull on the feeder yarn to make a more workable loop. All right. Then you can stick your crochet hook in the loop and tighten it up a little bit more. And then we're ready for the next set of instructions. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the head. And this time, let's do the number of chains required plus 1. All right. And then we're going to be doing single crochet stitches in that number by second chain from hook, put in your hook on that hump, and we're going to do our single crochet stitch, and then we're going to do the rest all the way down. All right. Once we're at this point here, we're going to do row 2, and we're going to be increasing by 2 stitches. So chain 1. So first stitch, we're going to do an increasing stitch, single crochet stitches all the way down with the exception of the last stitch to do an increasing stitch. Okay, do your increasing stitch here, and then we're going to move on to round 3, row 3, chain 1 and turn. Now for row 3, we're going to be increasing a couple of stitches. Before I do that, because we just we're going to do another repetitive thing, so this is going to be row 3. Put your marker on the last stitch you made, turn. Let's do our increasing stitch, single crochet stitches all the way down until the last stitch. Last stitch, do an increasing stitch. All right, I'm going to put another marker. This is going to indicate the 4th row. All right, so from here on out, it's going to be single crochet stitches all the way. So this is the 4th row. Let's get enough markers for the remaining rows. I always count twice, so. All right. Now, let's chain 1 and turn. I'm going to get more yarn, but all it is single crochet stitches all the way down until we use up all our markers. And I'm going to do this in silence. Alright, so I completed the rows, and that looks like it's it for the head. My question is how you're sewing this together. So here's my theory. I think it said it in another kit that I recently did, that you had to do this, you know, 2, 3, 4 times. I don't remember, but here it doesn't. But I'm looking at the forefoot, and you know the forefoot's gonna have 2. It doesn't say do it again. The rear foot, you know, there's 2, and it doesn't say do it again. So what I'm thinking is we have to make 2 of these heads here, because we're gonna sandwich it closed. For the shell, you have your body here, and you have the shell, so that goes on top of the other sewn, so I think that's how that works. But yeah, the head is gonna need another piece, because if how am I, this is gonna be one flat head, you know what I mean? Folded in half, it's gonna be, I guess it could be a shape. Comment below, let me know what you think. Just one piece folded in half and then attach it. Does it look all right, or does it look better with 2 pieces sewn onto the body? You know? And this is where someone needs to write a letter or something, because this is unacceptable. I don't, you know, does it say anywhere in here? I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't even show you. How is this acceptable? Like, the Dollar Tree clearly, or Crafter Square clearly doesn't care. They don't care about you and what you're trying to do here. They don't care that you're spending $1.25. So frustrating. Alright. I'm just gonna do 2. I hope it turns out alright and not too big. Doing 1 is just gonna look a little weird to me. But I'm gonna do the second one off camera. We're gonna come back and we're gonna do the forefoot and the rear foot. And as we know, that's gonna be 2 of each, and then the tail, and we're gonna put everything together. So let's smash this. Oh, but first, in my anger, we gotta fasten off. So when you make the second piece, you don't need to do this. So you don't need a long tail. You can do about 1 inch or so and fasten off. You just need one side to be the longer side, so that you can use it to sew the pieces together. And worst comes to worst, you can always just get more yarn and tie it together. But we're gonna fasten this off, yarn over, pull through the loop all the way out. I'm gonna tighten this up. I can remove my markers, and we're gonna come in doing the forefoot next. Oh, and maybe it doesn't. Oh yeah, these are flat. Oh, but there's 2 of each. Yeah, you still gotta do 2 of each. I almost don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Alright, be right back. Alright, so I actually did the second copy for the head, forefoot and rear foot, so that I can start filming the forefoot and rear foot and tail for you guys. And this is how much yarn I have left. This is clearly not enough to finish anything, and I can try to find something in my inventory that matches this color, but I don't think I have anything exactly like it. So let me check. Alright, so this isn't exactly the same. Might be close enough. Not bad. The material's different. This is cotton, and this one is probably acrylic. So comment below, let me know if you ran out of yarn. I just find it baffling that they give you this much for the shell and not enough for the body. So let's move forward. So maybe you won't even notice. Alright, now you can rewind back to show how to cast on with a slip knot. I've been doing this for quite some time, so it doesn't take me that much long to do it, and I kind of do it a different way anyway. But let us do the forefoot. So we're gonna put the number of chains that is required plus 1. Okay. Then we're going to start doing our single crochets, second chain from hook, using the back hump. Right. Then once we've completed the first row, we have to do additional rows. So let's mark this as the second row. Okay. So we're going to do straight single crochet stitches from here. Chain 1, turn, and do your single crochet stitches. Okay, we can try tucking these excess pieces in. What I'm going to do is crochet them in to a project. If you have none of this situation, you just crochet as normal. But if you do have little tails like this, especially in the future, we're just going to continue with our single crochet stitches, and we're just going to stitch around it by laying the excess pieces down on the row, and we just literally do our single crochet stitches around the excess pieces. This is gonna stitch them in together to the piece. It might make your stitch a little fatter than it normally is, but that's okay. It's not, you know, it won't be that big of a difference. And then if there's edges coming out, you can just trim those away later. But that's how I ended it. And the color's not too far off. You can see the difference of material. I'm really shocked at how close the color is because I just picked a random spool from my my little bin. But you can tell the difference of material. You can see where the cotton is versus the acrylic. Alright. And this just happens to be my last row. So I'm just going to finish this last row, and then we're going to move on to the next part of the instructions. Okay. Now for the next row, we're adding 1 stitch. And we're going to do this for a few rows here. So let's mark this off. Okay. So chain 1, turn. We're going to do an increasing stitch. And then the rest is going to be single crochet stitches. Okay, and then this is going to be the last row. Oh, I did something silly though. Oh, alright. I said that the second pieces for the head, the forefoot and rear foot and tail, well, no, forefoot and rear foot don't have to be a long tail to sew. That was true for the head, the second piece of the head, but when you do your pieces for the forefoot and the rear foot, it has to be long because you're sewing it to their individual pieces being sewn into the body. So since I already made the other second pair for the forefoot and the rear foot, I only did 1 inch, so I'm just gonna have to end up tying more yarn so that I can use it to sew. Oh dear. Yeah, it's hard to think straight when this is a difficult kit, you know. Fasten off. Remove the markers. Okay. Then we're going to do the rear foot. So cast on with the slip knot. Right? And we're going to be doing the number of stitches that it says in the instruction, +1. Then we're going to do single crochet stitches starting from the second loop from the hook. Okay. And once we have this, I'm going to put the marker in. This is going to indicate row 2. And then I'm going to gather up markers for the next rows because we are going to just do straight single crochet stitches all the way across. And this is the last row for this set of instructions. Alright, then what we're going to be doing is decreasing the next 2 rows. And by the way, row and round doesn't matter in these instructions because this one says round for the rear foot, but we're not doing any magic rings. It's flat in the picture, so that theory was kiboshed, I guess. But so chain 1, turn, we're going to do a decreasing stitch. We're going to do a single crochet stitch and then a decreasing stitch. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn and do single crochet stitches down the row. All right, so like I said, I did the second pairs off camera, so I for me at least, I just have the tail left, but you can always pause the video or replay this section to complete the second pair. Again, comment below, let me know if you ran out of material. But I'm going to move forward with the tail. Alright, again, cast on with a slip knot. And we're going to do the stitches required plus 1. Okay, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitches starting from the second chain from the hook. Right. I'm going to put a marker here to indicate row 2 because you have to do this a number of times. We're just going to do the single crochet stitch for these rows. This one I feel probably should be this this one I feel should probably be a amigurumi part, but whatever. I don't know. We could always just fold it and sew it, but this is the last bits, you guys, and reduce the crochet loops to make an end. What? Like, they just literally gave up. You're supposed to say decreasing stitches for this row, this row, and this row. How many more rows do you expect me to do here? I need some directive. We're just gonna reduce the crochet loops to make an end. What? This is laziness, pure laziness. Oh my gosh. So let's help us out. We're just gonna decrease these stitches to make a point at the end. So chain 1. And I'm going to do a decreasing stitch. And then I'm going to do, let's just do single crochet stitches. Let's make this somewhat of a long tail. I don't know. It doesn't tell you, it just said reduce. Alright, chain 1 again and turn. We're going to do another decreasing stitch. Alright, then we're going to do single crochet stitches for the remaining stitch here, and then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do a decreasing stitch. So that's my version of reducing the loops at the end. So we have this little tail. If you wanted to make it look like reality, you could even sew this together maybe, or do the amigurumi with the magic ring. But it seems like this is all flat. I'm just going to keep it flat and keep it the same because it's going to look weird if we switch it up. But I'm going to do this anyway, because I don't know yet how I'm going to sew this to the body. Oh, I mean, this is the second kit from the new kits that came out, apparently, and it's driving me up the wall. This one is worse than the other one. So, fastening off, removing the markers. Let's sew this together, you guys. Comment below, let me know if you made it this far. If you have, that's amazing. If you didn't, don't beat yourself up, because this one was a rough one for sure. So I have the tail. I have one of the rear end that I did only an incher. Like I said, it should have been more because I forgot to realize that they're two separate pieces that need to be sewn. This is the forefoot. This is the head, one side. Here is the rear foot. It's bigger because I had to use my own material. So we're also going to be having that going on with our poor turtle. One arm is bigger. One arm and one foot's going to be bigger. This is for the forearm, which should have a longer tail and it doesn't. Here's the other part of the head. Alright, so let's just move these aside here. And let's take our body and our shell. So what I can do is use this pink tail to sew the shell. And maybe I can use this to sew the one side of forearm and rear foot. Forefoot and rear foot that has the short tails. So I think I just solved my problem. But I'm going to take the needle now, and you can use their nice flimsy needle. Sorry about that. They definitely went cheap. They probably thought they were brilliant geniuses over there, thinking they're going to save money. They're not. I'll call them out, you know. Any bit of aggravation on a kit is not even worth $1.25. Alright, so I'm going to situate this in the center. And I'm going to sew this all the way around. I'm going to leave a side to add stuffing. But I'm going to do straight stitches. So straight stitches are pretty much in and out. Oh, let's just do it this way. So we're just going in and out. In. Oops. And out. And the body is slightly bigger than the shell, so center it well. Again, I'm going to leave this side to stuff, but since I don't know how long this video is already, I'm going to time lapse this part probably, if I do, and then we'll come back in to stuff the shell. Alright, as you saw, I sewn around the shell. I left this side open. I separated a bit for the head, and then I stuffed the rest to fill the shell. So now that I've completed sewing everything in, now I just have to find a moment to tie a knot and then hide this yarn. So I'm not a sewer, but I'm just gonna figure out a way to tie a knot, and this is how I always do it. So if you have a better way to do this, by all means do it your way. But I'm tying my knot, and then what I'm going to do is stick my needle through one end and randomly come out another end. Okay, then I'm going to pull the yarn here. I'm going to pull it a little bit so you see like it's kind of taut. I'm going to cut this flush with the surface, and then as you let go, the retraction of the shell is going to drag that piece back in there. If not, you can just keep squishing it to make that end disappear. So that piece is long gone. So now we can focus on sewing the head. So we're just going to grab our head pieces, and you know what? If you're going to use the bobble eyes, you can put that on in the end. Again, I do not like to, I don't like to use them because it could be a choking hazard. So I'm just going to use the black to sew the eyes. Oh, and by the way, at this point now, before or after everything's put together, they want you to sew lines on the shell. If I really wasn't so annoyed with this kit, I would actually try doing a nice hexagon all around. The one in the picture looks like they're just doing 3 lines. So, but you know what? It looks so bad on this photo that I'm not going to even do that. I'm just going to leave it bare. But like I said, if I was feeling happy and ambitious, you can do a hexagon shape. You know, anything that kind of looks like a tortoise shell, or is it hexagon or is it octagon? I don't know. But now I'm just going to try to take this apart. And I like that they gave you a lot of black, and I'm not going to use it for how they want me to use it. Because then I can use this in the future for other eyes, because I do have black, but it's in the bin and I have to like dig through to get the black. So it's always nice to have black on hand. But what I'm gonna do is, and it's not gonna, you know, if I really wanted to go ahead, I can use white to make the white parts of the eyes and then use the black over it. I'm just gonna use the black, it's not that serious. But let's take this then, since it's short, and I'm just gonna place eyes here. It looks like I'm gonna do maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 rows in, 2 stitches in from the sides, and I'm just gonna make a couple of passes around one stitch to make an eyeball big enough. So keep, if you're doing it this way because you're giving it to a pet or a child, just keep making passes around this stitch to make a bulbous eye. And before I forget, try to keep track of the number of passes you make on one eye so that you can do the same on the other. And I always forget that. If you forget, then just, you know, eyeball it and make the eyes similar. But I think that's it. I think this is just like 4 passes. Thought I would want to make it bigger, but I like it like this. It's not too big. And then we'll do the same on the side. You count your 2 stitches, and then we're going to go around this 1 stitch here. Not bad. We're going to make 4 passes on this side. Oh shoot. I'm supposed to go the other way. Alright. I'm just gonna undo this. Because let's see if I can undo it. I'm supposed to go the other way. 1 stitch the other way. This way. Oh. The one thing about acrylic yarn is that it's sticky. And not like sticky in that sense, but because it's the quality also, if there's a lot of fray or frizz or whatever you call it on the sides, it's gonna grapple to whatever yarn's nearby. And it's just, ugh. 2, 3, and then this should be the last one. 4. Even if you do the same number of passes and it looks smaller, Might want to do one more because sometimes you pull tighter than the last time too. And I know I kind of struggled there. But nope, I think this is okay. Now I can tie this together. And I try to do these things before I sew them together because then it gives me enough room to get in there. Okay, let's cut this off. Now I can sew the head together, and same thing, you want to sew all around except for one side so that you can stuff. And let's see, this is great because where the yarn is here, we got to attach this part to the body. So we're going to sew these pieces together this way so that when we come back around, we'll have that slot open to stuff it, and then we can attach it to the body when we close it. And again, I'm going to use straight stitches. I mean, well, since this is going to be a round head, you can do wraparound stitches. I don't know what that's called, but you can do that. Yeah, that way when we stuff, it'll look more like a round head than a flat head. But because I used two different materials, it's not lining up exactly. But since the stitching is the same, I'm going to try stretching the smaller piece, because we want a nice line. Not a nice line, we want a smooth transition from one piece to the other because it's making a head. Unlike the shell and the body, that could be a line. On top of the fact that it's two different colors, so. Right? Now we're on the stitch side, so it will be easier to see where to match up your pieces. Alright, so I did all three sides. Let's stuff the head. Okay. And then to kind of do a 2-for-1, when closing, I can also include part of the body so that I don't have to do it again. So I'm going to try sewing all of this together. This might be a little difficult. You want to make sure you get part of the body and part of the head. Okay. Now that I've attached this, I'm going to find a moment to tie a knot. So again, just go around here. I want to pull this. Tighten it up. Then we're going to go into the project, come out a random spot, pull it a little bit. I'm going to cut this off at the surface. And then as you let go, it should retract. If not, you can squish the project to make that disappear. All right, got the head on. So now we're just gonna sew these flat pieces. If you're in the same position as I am with that, cutting the 1-inch tail, we can take now this tail from the body and sew on those rear foot and forefoot. So this one is the forefoot. I mean the rear, yeah, forefoot. This is the rear foot. All right, so it's let's see. I think it has us sewing it from this side here. So what we're gonna want to do, so I'm gonna sew it on this flat edge. I'm just gonna take my crochet hook and I'm just gonna weave in and out this 1-incher piece just so I can get it to that side. We're gonna sew it all together. Just going in randomly, grabbing it, pulling it through. All right. So let's place this here. I'm going to stick it a little underneath. And I'm going to sew this together like that. So let's weave this yarn to that part of the body that we're going to sew the rear foot to. So about here. So now I'm just going to straight stitch these pieces together, and I'm going to try to sew around that 1-inch piece so that it's all sewn in together and it hides it a little bit. Okay, so now I just gotta weave the yarn to the forefoot area. This I'm gonna trim off maybe, or maybe I'll try sewing it in there. But we're gonna take this now. Let's see, use this side, use this side. All right, so we're gonna sew it like this. I think I'm going to use it like right up here. I think that'd be great. So again, what I'm going to do is weave this in and out of that arm to get to that side we're going to sew, because we're going to try to sew this tail into each other. Okay. But first I have to get to that side, so weaving in and out. Okay, so I'm going to take this here, attach it, and we're going to do straight stitches again, and we're going to try to sew this piece in with it. Alright, once we get to this side, we just have to find a spot to sew this, tie this off. Okay, and put your needle in one end, come out the other. The rest of the pieces have tails, so we don't have to worry so much about using this piece to tie them, to sew them together. But we've got the one side done. Alright, and this tail I'm just gonna leave flat, because it would be, or maybe not, let me see. Could I fold it? Yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna fold my tail in half, sew the side together because I have to creep up anyway to sew it to the body with this tail. So sew the sides together. Okay, and once you get the sides sewn, we're just gonna sew the tail to the body. And I'm gonna go underside again, using straight stitches. Okay, and once I have that, I'm just going to find my moment to tie my knot. Okay, in one end, out the other. Cut it flush. Squeeze it. Oh yeah, we are done. Oh, what a nightmare. Again, if I really wasn't so over this kit already, I would have done maybe like a nice design here, because they just have these photoshopped lines, by the way, in there. I'm just going to put back the materials I didn't use in there. But yeah, so here is the finished piece, you guys. Comment below. You know the drill. Let me know how it went. Let me know what you think. Again, I am hosting a giveaway, a special football giveaway in my other channel. In case you're wondering, my original channel just somehow ended up having both craft and nails on there, and I didn't intend it to be that way. I honestly was only helping a friend out for one video, and that one video just exploded. So that led to a lot of other requests, and I've been doing it ever since. So in saying that, if you have a request, you can comment below, but I highly recommend that if you do not want to wait, just share a clear image of the instruction and send it to me via email. It's in my about section on this channel. But yeah, back to the giveaway. I will leave a link for my original channel in the description box below. Again, I am picking one nail winner and one craft winner. They're going to be receiving some goodies depending on what they like to do, whether it's crochet and or knitting. I'll throw in some extra stuff as well. I'm also throwing in a gift card as well as a 1-hour StreamYard meeting where you can situate your camera, something like this. You don't have to show your face or anything. I'll do the same. We can work on a project together, or you can show me a project you're working on that you're stuck on. So, and I can try to help you out. At any rate, look for the football. I think the thumbnail says special giveaway. But I post those on Tuesday. And I close the vote at the end of Wednesday, my time, Eastern time. So get those votes in. You just pick which, if a team is going to be winning or losing. And it's for the next, I think, 15 weeks now. So we just did 3 weeks. And this coming week is the 4th week in football. And each week I'll update everybody. It's gonna be a fun giveaway, and it's pretty large. There's a story behind that, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.